Hello and welcome back everybody to the channel, and today I have a very important topic, one that I think gets talked about. I have some different points and directions I do want to discuss, and today that topic is going to be bar path in the equipped bench as well as the elbow positioning and how to maximize your bench press by taking advantage of your leverages. So let's waste no time and let's get started. Okay, so elbow positioning in relation to where the barbell is over your body. As you know, as equipped lifters especially, I do advocate for this for all types of bench pressers, raw or equipped. But we need to be in a tucked position. Now, I'm not telling you to drag your triceps down your side. There is such a thing as over-tucking, but we don't want to be going through the full range of motion with an elbows out position or a flare position. We as equipped lifters do start in a flare position at the top and we finish with a flare position at the top. We as humans can lock more weight out in a flared position than we can in a tucked position. Once in a while, it doesn't happen very often because of the structure of some of the venues I've been to, but once in a while, like the following video, you can actually see an aerial view of one of my competitive bench presses, this one actually being the 1350 that I did here back in February. And you can see the elbow position, my forearm position very in line, and I'm also going very low on the stomach. This is optimal for me when it comes to my equipped bench press. Everybody's different. I'd like to say every human being that has ever lived, is currently living, and will ever live are going to be very unique, and we're all different. So what might be absolutely optimal for my body type might not be optimal for the next guy. But these same rules and principles apply as far as heavy bench pressing, where your elbows are in relation to the body, and also the forearm angle, which is what we're going to talk about. So the first thing you really have to ask yourself is, what style of bench pressing are you going to do competitively? Are you going to bench up on the chest? Are you going to bench low towards the sternum? Are you going to belly bench? Keeping in mind that a properly executed, very heavy equipped bench is normally done with a slight elbow tuck. Now, like I said at the beginning, you can over tuck. An example I sometimes give is if this is my completely flared out position, a tuck position might be here. So it's not a lot of movement. I'm not going to be flared like this and then tucked like this. It's not that extreme. So again, flared, my tuck position might be here. Having a really hard time touching a weight, I will tuck even harder than that, but that doesn't often happen. So once you establish what type of touch you're going to accomplish, again, maybe really high on the chest, low on the sternum, or on the belly, you have to create the best starting position. If we look at the bench press from the side, you will see my touch point and me holding the barbell out at arm's length. So what I need to do is bring that barbell out over my touch point. So for me, touching low on the belly, I need to bring that barbell all the way out so that my touch point is directly below the barbell. If I do not do this, if I start with the barbell over my face, but I'm going to touch on the belly, I'm going to take a now curved path to get down to that touch point. That's a longer distance, it's inefficient, and as I mentioned before, I'm going to tuck. So let's look at what happens if I start with the bar over the face and I tuck my elbows in order to try to touch low on the belly. So in this next video you'll see with a bar starting over my face, and I'm trying to touch low, mind you, on the belly, if I tuck my elbows with the bar over the face, look what happens to the forearms. They are going to angle back. I no longer have, I don't like using this term, but it's the easiest way to describe it, I no longer have this stacked joint position with the wrists, elbows to shoulder. My forearms are angling back as if I was going to do a barbell extension or a French press. This is not only inefficient, but it puts the forearms in particular in a very vulnerable position. There's a lot more shearing force that's going to be applied on the forearms when they are not in a stacked position, but now in an angled back position, right about here. This can lead to injury. If the weight is heavy enough, people have broken their arms doing this. So benching in a tucked position is what we want to do, but in order to tuck, we have to have the bar out over our touch point and just know from reviewing footage, from experience, what is the best elbow position based on that touch point. If you look at a lifter that benches on their chest, they would not be able to tuck very much. They have to maintain a flared position. If I was a chest presser, we'll call them, and I tried tucking, again, you're going to see I'm going to start doing basically a JM press. My forearms are going to angle back. It's going to be harder on the joints and put a lot of shearing force on the forearms. Now, some people have always told me, like, well, we take a curved path on the way back up, so why is coming down on a curved path bad? And I say, realistically, you should be pressing mostly in a straight line. The only time you should drift over the face is once the bar is about 3/4 of the way up. If you have a sticking point you need to work through, there can be a slight deviation backwards, just a slight incline back towards the face. But if you immediately launch the bar off your chest or off your belly and start going back towards the face, you're eventually going to dump the weight. So most of the pressing should be done straight. And if you need to, you can flare out and go back towards the face to lock the weight out if you hit a sticking point. And flaring out, as I said, is good at the top of the motion. We want to start in a flared position, and we need to finish in a flared position. This leads me to another point where I talked about before about that slight tucking. If you come down on a bench and you start flared and you touch, but you have to tuck this far, on the way back up, you now have to waste the energy to bring your arms all the way back out. That's a lot of travel and a lot of wasted energy. So I try to minimize how much I do tuck. I do want to be tucked, but I don't want to be extremely tucked because I want to have less distance my arm has to travel from the pressing tuck position to the now flared position. This is a lot of travel, and this is minimum travel. I've set athletes up in a power rack or, off pins on a bench and have them try to lock weights out with a tuck position and have them lock that same weight out in a flared position. We can lock more weight out with an elbows flared position. So again, to reiterate, start your bench press flared, on the way down tuck to whatever is optimal as you as the athlete in relation to your touch point. Wherever that touch point happens to be, you have to bring the bar out over that touch point to start. On the press, on the way back up, press mostly in a straight line. If you need to, flare over the face a little bit while simultaneously flaring the elbows out to lock the weight out efficiently. Alright, so that's going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching the video and hanging out with me. If you liked the video, if you got something out of it, click like, maybe subscribe to the channel for more bench press content from me. And until next time, stay strong, and we'll catch you on the next video.